Hello. And I recently moved out here to Hollywood to get in the film industry. And I've been writing a long time before I even got to town. And I've got a lot of scripts. I'm willing to show them. Hit me up. And I'm very excited to be on the show.
I'm Autumn. I'm a California native, and I grew up right here in Los Angeles.
Hi, I'm Claire. I've never been on TV before. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
I go by Lilith, and I'm from Van Nuys, California.
Let's see what the audience wants to ask first. What would you do with the money?
Well, my ex-wife would probably get most of it. She's supposed to get half my income, but the judge hates me, so she always gets the bigger half. But if I got money, I'd pay off my credit cards, finish paying off my bike, and finally have some money in the bank for once. That'd be nice.
What would you do with the money?
Oh, I have a financial advisor that handles my money for me. My parents use them. They're really good.
What would you do with the money?
Well, I've been working on a film for several years. It's kind of like my main baby when it comes to screenwriting, but I haven't had the capital to produce it. It's a superhero film, but get this. In most superhero movies, someone gets powers. They either become the good guy or the bad guy. What if they just still remain a guy and they don't use the powers? Maybe they're like, they try them out, but then they're like, you know what? I'm just going to stick to my regular life. And it's a superhero film that turns into just a slice of life normal guy film because he doesn't use them. And then at the end, when you think he's like, oh, he's about to save the day, the powers get reversed and he loses them.
What would you do with the money?
Pharmaceutical companies test drugs on puppies and other small animals all the time, then just abandon them when they're done. Someone needs to do something about it. If I win, I plan on using the money to open a rehab center so I can help those poor puppies recover and live normal lives.
What would you do with the money?
I would hire a private investigator to help me find my daughter Mallory. We got separated on a fishing trip quite a few years ago now, and I spent all my time and my resources finding her, going from city to city, but she's always moved on. So, yeah, a private investigator could be life-changing for me.
What would you do with the money?
I'd start my own cult, dedicated to summoning Cthulhu and bringing about the end of days.
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
I think more people should ride motorcycles. Motorcycles are sweet, dude. People like their hybrid cars, they only get 50 miles per gallon. Motorcycles get that kind of mileage. And they're cool, and no traffic, and they cost like a fraction of the price of a car. $5,000 for a bike, and that's a good one, dude. Yeah, bikes are sweet. Easy to find parking too, wherever, whenever.
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
Okay. There's this James Bond movie called The World Is Not Enough, where Denise Richards plays a physicist. Everyone was making fun of it, saying that she did a terrible job and that it was sexist of them to cast her. Here's the thing. She did fine. If she was more plain looking, I guarantee nobody would have said anything. The people who are saying that it was sexist are the sexist ones. They don't believe that a woman can be hot and smart enough to be a scientist. And that's the most sexist thing you can do.
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
Okay. Well, my most controversial slash unpopular opinion, a lot of people say that it's pretty bogus that Superman just puts on a pair of glasses and he becomes Clark Kent and no one knows who he is. No one can recognize him. I actually think that checks out. See, I've thought about this a lot. Now, if there's this hero and then you see someone who's kind of your normal neighbor, you wouldn't associate that. Like, your mind wouldn't go there. So, like, here's an example. Let's say you have a neighbor who looks exactly like Barack Obama, but his hair's a little different, and he wears glasses, and he's got a normal job. Let's say he works at a gas station, and you wouldn't say, my neighbor, James, who works at the gas station, has glasses, is ex-president of the United States, Barack Obama. You'd say, oh, that guy kind of looks like Barack Obama, but it's not Barack Obama. Same thing. You wouldn't say, oh, Clark, who, like, is a cub reporter for the Daily Planet, he can't be Superman. He's a bumbling goof. He slightly looks like Superman. Remember, Clark is like uncoordinated. Clark is like, you know, bad at life. Superman is the best. So, like, you would not make that leap. I think it would totally work. Unpopular opinion, and I stand by it.
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
Owning pets is wrong and should be illegal. If your dog or cat isn't free to come and go as they please, they're not your pet, they're your prisoner.
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
Most people think you need milk to eat cereal. I completely disagree. It's so extortionate. The prices of milk nowadays. I mean, no way. I just use water and it's delicious. I love my cereal with water when I can find cereal.
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
I believe that we should bring back public execution. We're already executing people in 27 states. Why not sell tickets? I know some people really hate the death penalty, but they should love this idea. Executing these prisoners in private only helps the masses not to think about it. Making it public will bring attention to it. And it gives the rest of us something to do.
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
Yeah, so I was the toughest kid in my high school, right? Everybody knew that about me. There was this guy, though. He was 6'8", freakishly tall, big guy. Everyone was like, oh, he's tough, like, oh, he could take you. I hated that. What, you're tall, so that gives you grit? Bullshit. So, plus the guy, he was in honors classes. He must have been a nerd. No way he could take me. One day, it got to me. I called him out in the hallway. I egged him on. He didn't want to fight. I said, let's go. Not only did he beat my ass, but he beat it so badly. It was just... I was bruising for days, man. Best part is, though, we became best friends, and yeah, the rest is history. I don't know, I picked a fight with a giant, got my ass beat. That was stupid. Yeah, that was stupid.
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
I once bought this outfit and I posted on Instagram, #newoutfit. What I didn't realize is that I posted in the same exact outfit that I bought a few months earlier. People thought I was lying, but I just forgot that I bought the same outfit. People still bring it up in the comments to this day.
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
Dumbest thing I ever did. How do I choose just one? Okay. I was camping outside a store waiting to buy a game console. So it was going to be released, and I wanted to get there early. I wanted to make sure that I got one. And I set up a tent. I was going to sleep outside the store. I was there for 28 hours in my tent. The night before the store opened, when they were going to sell the console, it was go time. I went to sleep in my tent, had my phone with me. I didn't have any way to charge my phone, and my alarm didn't go off in the morning because my phone ran out of juice. I woke up 3 hours after the store opened, and I did not get the console. I slept in a tent on a sidewalk, got back problems from it, for what ended up being no reason whatsoever.
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
We heard they were going to cut down a huge area of forest, so about 20 of us went out there the night before to protest. We chained ourselves to trees so they'd have to delay their logging until they could get rid of us. Only we were in the wrong place. They were logging about a half a mile away, so no one knew we were there for almost a week. By the time someone found us, we were out of food and water, and we thought we were gonna die. The guy who found us went to ask the loggers for help, and they had to cut down the trees we were chained to in order to free us. All we accomplished was getting an extra 20 trees cut down and almost dying in the process.
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
Oh, well, that was sleeping in a dumpster. I mean, it seems like a good idea, right? You know, there's a lid on them, keeps you dry when it's wet. Unfortunately, I fell asleep and the garbage truck came by, and I woke up to find myself being tumbled into the garbage truck and being compacted in beside everything else. It took me 3 days to free myself from the block I was in the landfill.
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
This rich couple used to pay me to sit for their dog. And one day he died on my watch. So I buried him in the backyard, replaced him with a look-alike from the local pet shop. The couple comes home. The new dog won't stop barking, yapping, nipping. I said he was acting normal during my watch. I got paid and I left. Anyway, he ends up biting one of them. So they put him outside, where he digs up the original, who turns out wasn't as dead as I thought. So they decided they needed to call me, text me, dozens, more dozens of times, asking me why I would bury their dog alive and try and replace him with an evil clone. I figured there was no way explaining my way out of that one, so I didn't reply.
What is the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
Oh man, dude. For years, my friend John used to sell my friend Keith weed, but it wasn't weed, it was kale. Like, he would sell him kale instead of weed. And yeah, Keith didn't know. Like, for years, I was watching Keith, like, pack bongs with kale, and that wasn't working, so then he would, like, make kale brownies, and he had no idea. And yeah, I should have told him, but it was just too funny.
What is the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
I sorta stole someone's boyfriend once. Well, it wasn't her boyfriend. My friend Brooke had a really big crush on this musician, and I told her to DM him, but she was too nervous to, so I DM'd him for her. He wasn't interested in her, so he ended up asking me out, and we dated for a bit. I can tell it made my friend a little uncomfortable, so that was one of the reasons why I broke up with him.
What is the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
I try not to betray friends, but... Okay. I spoiled Avengers Infinity War for several of my friends and coworkers. So, opening night, I saw it twice. I got my tickets in advance for 2 showings right in a row, back to back. I was at the theater for like 6 hours just downloading Infinity War, and it was awesome. But I'm like, okay, Friday, maybe people haven't seen it yet. Over the weekend, I saw it 2 more times. I go into work Monday. I assume that everyone has seen it. It's a phenomenon. It's like the movie grossed like $2 billion. I don't know how much everyone saw it. I assume they all saw it opening weekend. And I started going on about the people we lost, the Avengers we lost, the snap. I really spoiled that movie for a lot of people. I had a lot of apologizing to do that day. And if you're watching, let me just say once again, I am so sorry. I promise you, I am now keeping it spoiler-free.
What's the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
I gave a lot of my friends chlamydia. In fairness, some of them probably had it already. We're all very open about our sexuality. That's just the type of people I vibe with.
What is the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
Well, that would be my friend Emily from high school. We were paired together for a science project, and she looked after this egg that we were given for the first week, and I was to look after it for the second week, and I did it great. The egg was perfect, and I was carrying it into school on the last day of the project to give to Emily to hand to the teacher. I got chased by a coyote, and of course I dropped the egg, and then the coyote ate the egg, and I just thought, I can't let Emily down. Like, I don't want to betray my friend and disappoint her. And I remembered, though, that I had seen a bird's nest on the way to school a few days before, so I went back. And sure enough, there's an egg in the bird's nest. It was maybe like a slightly bluer shade of grey than the egg would be given, but I thought, nobody's going to notice. So I took it into school, handed it to Emily. She was just about to give it to the teacher, and a red-tailed hawk flew in the window and violently attacked Emily, for touching the baby's egg. And so not only did we not get an A, Emily was in intensive care for 3 weeks, and things were never the same with us again.
What is the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
I don't have friends, but I have betrayed people. When I was in high school, there was a girl in my class who told me she wanted to kill herself. And I could have helped her, but I didn't. And in hindsight, I do wish I had. I ran into her recently, and she's married to a loser, has 2 ugly children, and works part-time as a waitress. If I had helped her commit suicide back then, she wouldn't be suffering like that. I offered to kill her now, but apparently it's too late. She doesn't want to die anymore.
What is your favorite holiday?
Well, when I was growing up, it was Christmas, hands down. Probably every kid's favorite holiday growing up. But now it's Thanksgiving, for sure. You know, day off from work, food, lots of good food, and football. My 3 favorite things.
What is your favorite holiday?
My birthday falls on Christmas, so I get double presents every year. What can compete with that?
What is your favorite holiday?
Yeah, my favorite holiday is definitely Pi Day. March 14th, 3/14, aka 3.14, as in pi. And I love it. It's not an official holiday yet, anyway, but every Pi Day, I go to a competition where, first off, there are many varieties of pie, blueberry, apple, we indulge, and then there's the competition part of it where they see who can name the most numbers after the decimal point from memory. And I won it once. I named 1,826 numbers from memory, but that's not the world record. And I don't know if I'll ever get close to that. The world record is 70,000 from memory. Happy Pi Day.
What is your favorite holiday?
Arbor Day. I like that there's a holiday that's for trees and not humans. I always try to spend that day hanging out in the woods, away from people.
What's your favorite holiday?
Oh, well, that's easy. It's Thanksgiving. You know, when you're homeless like I am, it's really hard to find places to sleep. But on Thanksgiving, I can sleep in front of any storefront, entrance, window, and everyone just thinks I'm queuing for the Black Friday sales, and I get left alone. It's pure bliss and just warms my heart every Thanksgiving.
And what is your favorite holiday?
I think it's a tie between Memorial Day. There's more murders in the U.S. on Memorial Day than any other day of the year. And All Hallows Eve, when the boundaries between the land of the living and the land of the dead are the thinnest.
That's the end of this round. We'll soon find out who will be going home after this message from our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by Rebecca Cartwright. Have you been injured in an automobile accident? Or hurt on the job? Has your case already been settled and you've been awarded a large sum of money? Call Rebecca Cartwright, 555-1258. Rebecca is 25, single, and looking for a long-lasting relationship. Must love dogs. Now it's time for the audience to vote. Please enter the selection of the contestant you think should be going home. The votes are in. The audience has voted to send home Autumn.
It's probably for the best I didn't win. Lots of money rarely leads to happiness.
What is your most embarrassing memory?
Man, I once tried dating 2 girls in the same night, and that did not go well. I was out with this one girl, and we were having a great time, and then I drove her home. I went inside, we fooled around a little bit, that was fun, and yeah, I said goodbye, went to this bar, and I met this other chick, and she was digging me, and I was digging her, and yeah, we left, I took her home, and it's the same home, like, they're roommates, dude. So I'm like, okay, Joe, don't push your luck, let's go home. But no, man, I don't know. I thought like maybe the first girl would be sleeping, or like best case, who knows, you know what I mean? So yeah, I went inside, and sure enough, the first girl sitting there like watching TV, these girls laid it on me. They got up, they yelled at me. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're beautiful, both of you. Yeah, that sucked. That was, not my finest hour. Yikes.
What is your most embarrassing memory?
I was at a party once, and Lady Gaga showed up in the same outfit as me. How am I supposed to compete with Gaga? That was so humiliating.
What is your most embarrassing memory?
Oh, yeah. I got an embarrassing memory. My most embarrassing memory was, okay, so I was maybe like 4 or 5 years old, and we were at a neighbor's house, the Harrises. They were the only house on the block that had a pool. So we'd go over there for summer afternoons, pool parties. So I was in the pool this one time with my dad, and I told him I had to pee. And he told me, just go in the pool. That's what everyone does. So, again, I was really young. This was like probably right before kindergarten. And I peed in the pool, and it was fine. So that became a normal thing. I would go, if I was in the pool, I would pee in the pool. Well, one summer, again, I was very young, maybe kindergarten. There was a big pool party. It was a birthday. Everyone was there from my class, the neighbors, and I had to go. I wasn't in the pool. I was standing right outside the pool, and I figured, oh, if I have to go, just go in the pool. And I stood there and peed into the pool. I quickly learned that that was wrong. Everyone was horrified. They cleared out the pool. Party was almost over. It was like I ruined the birthday. And that stigma stuck with me, let's see, if that was kindergarten, almost until high school. Yeah, I was the pool peer. Not my proudest moment.
What is your most embarrassing memory?
Oh gosh, there's been quite a few things in my life that are embarrassing, but you know those people on trains that go around checking everyone's tickets that they've got the right tickets? Well, It was my high school reunion, and I pretended that I was one of those people, that was my job, so that everyone would think I was really successful. But then it turned out in the group there was somebody who was a real ticket checker, and they told everyone that I was, and they didn't, like, I didn't have that job. They knew I didn't, like, they never saw me at work. It was so embarrassing. They really dropped me in it.
What is your most embarrassing memory?
When I was 6 years old, my parents forced me to attend the birthday party of the girl who lived next door. They fed me copious amounts of candies, cakes, ice cream. I got caught up in such a sugar rush, I actually participated in their games. The worst part was, afterwards, many of these peasants actually thought we were friends.
What is your biggest regret?
Marrying my high school sweetheart. My ex-wife. Ex-wife. No more. No thank you. Yeah, we were miserable. And now I pay alimony every month.
What is your biggest regret?
I once turned down a modeling job because I would have had to go to Milan for 4 weeks. I was in high school at the time, so I might have had to repeat a year. In hindsight, it was a very famous photographer, so it would have helped my modeling career. I should have gone.
What is your biggest regret?
My biggest regret. Okay. Years ago, I used to work at a video store. Back in the day and age where they actually had video stores, where you didn't have everything at your fingertips streaming. And I worked with this girl named Rebecca. And we got along so good. We were jokey, we had banter, but the thing I was oblivious to at the time was that she was flirting with me. Like, she was into me. And the crazy thing is, I had a crush on her, but I was in the dark to her feelings about me, but now, years later, I can think back. I'm like, oh yeah, she was totally flirting with me. She, like, how did I miss that? Nothing happened, and that is a major regret. I might take that one to my grave.
What's your biggest regret?
Well, that's easy. That would be the fishing trip I took my daughter Mallory on 20 years ago. Well, obviously I couldn't afford a boat. So we borrowed 2 floating pool chairs and off we went out into the ocean. It was a beautiful day. Unfortunately, I got caught in an undercurrent and I was swept off to a desert island. I saw she made it back to shore. It took me so long to get off the desert island that by the time I got home, she'd moved on, and I've not been able to find her since.
What is your biggest regret?
That's easy. There are many people I've encountered in my life who I didn't kill, even though they clearly deserved it. And now it's too late. I wouldn't even know where to find them.
You're the conductor on a runaway trolley. There are 5 people ahead of you on the tracks who cannot get off the tracks in time. If you continue forward, you will run over and kill all 5. You cannot stop the trolley, but you can change to an alternate track where there is only one person on it. If you decide to change tracks, the 5 people on the first track will live, but the one person on the alternate track will be run over and die. Do you change tracks?
Wait, I'm a trolley conductor for a living? How did I end up doing that to make ends meet? I mean, geez, forget the people on the tracks. If I ever sank so low I'm driving a trolley, I'd probably jump in front of it just to end my miserable life. Jeez. No thanks.
You're the conductor on a runaway trolley. There are 5 people ahead of you on the tracks who do not have time to get off the tracks. If you continue forward, you will run over all 5 and they will die. You cannot stop the trolley, but you can change to an alternate track where there is only one person on it. If you choose to change tracks, the 5 people on the first track will live, but the one person on the alternate track will be run over and die. Do you change tracks?
I don't know anything about trolleys, but if I had a job driving one, I'm sure that they would teach me how to handle that situation in trolley school.
You're the conductor on a runaway trolley. There are 5 people on the tracks ahead of you who cannot get off the tracks in time. If you continue forward, you will run over and kill all 5. You cannot stop the trolley, but you can change to an alternate track where there is only one person on it. If you change tracks, the 5 people on the first track will live, but the person on the alternate track will be run over and die. Do you change tracks?
This is just basic logic. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. So I would change tracks to kill 1 instead of 5.
You're the conductor on a runaway trolley. There are 5 people on the tracks ahead of you who cannot get off the tracks in time. If you continue forward, you will run over and kill all 5 of them. You cannot stop the trolley, but you can change to an alternate track which only has one person on it. If you decide to change tracks, all 5 people on the first track will live, but the person on the alternate track will be run over and die. Do you change tracks?
Before answering that, what you have to understand is that being run over by a trolley doesn't have to be fatal. I've survived it at least twice now, and after an extended hospital stay, I was completely fine. You just have to avoid being crushed by the wheels when you're underneath. So, in answer to your question, your morality question, of course you switch to where the one person is because there's just not room under there for a crowd.
You're the conductor on a runaway trolley. There are 5 people on the tracks ahead of you who cannot get off the tracks in time. If you continue forward, you will run over and kill all 5. You cannot stop the trolley, but you can change to an alternate track where there is only one person on it. If you decide to change tracks, all 5 people on the original track will live, but the person on the alternate track will be run over and die. Do you change tracks?
So if I stay on the first track, I get to kill 5 people without the possibility of getting in any trouble whatsoever. But if I change tracks, I only get to kill 1, and there's a possibility that I go to prison. Why would I possibly change tracks? Is this a trick question? Is there a way to kill all 6? If there is, I don't see it. I'd stay on the first track and settle for 5.
Have you ever cheated on anyone?
Have I ever cheated? In my entire life, like cheated? Of course I have. Who hasn't? I mean, everyone cheats. I've been cheated on by girls. I've cheated on girls. I mean, that's just life, man. Everyone cheats.
Have you ever cheated on anyone?
No, I would never do that. And I've proven it. I was asked out by Ryan Gosling, and I said no. I was dating a guy at the time. We weren't serious, but I don't cheat.
Have you ever cheated on anyone?
No. And I don't think I ever would. Not even if I had the chance. Although I did cheat on a math test once in junior high. And I couldn't live with myself afterwards, so I wouldn't even cheat on a test again.
Have you ever cheated on anyone?
Certainly not. I have been ever faithful to my one true love, my husband, who I've not seen since the fishing trip, but he's my one and only.
Have you cheated on anyone?
Of course I have. I don't answer to men. If I choose to hook up with a guy, he should be eternally grateful. I certainly don't have any obligations to him afterwards.
What is the most serious law you've ever broken?
I used to shoplift as a kid. I also used to do a ton of underage drinking. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know which one's worse, but whichever one's worse, I guess, would be my answer.
What's the most serious law you've ever broken?
I used to have steaks flown in from this place that I love in France. I stopped when I found out it was illegal to import meats. I don't know how serious of a crime that is, but I'm glad I never found out the hard way.
What's the most serious law you've ever broken?
I would say the most serious law I've ever broken is sneaking into a movie. So, in 2015, Star Wars The Force Awakens was coming out, and there was an advanced sneak preview screening beforehand. And it was invite only. So I figured out a way around that since I wasn't invited, but I did want to see it. I'm not going to tell you what theater it was or what theater chain because I do not want to get a phone call from their attorneys. But the night before this advanced screening, I went to a movie at that theater, and then I stayed in the theater all night long. I hid in the bathroom, slept there, and then the next day, I was in the theater for the screening, and there were a couple of seats open. It wasn't completely full. So I got into the sneak preview. I saw The Force Awakens early. I'm not proud of it. It's probably a big felony, but I would do it again.
What's the most serious law you've ever broken?
International piracy law. When I was lost at sea one time, I thought all was lost. But a pirate ship came by and actually rescued me. Now, you've heard bad things about pirates, and so had I, but they could not have been nicer. They gave me a job to do on ships so that I could earn my keep when I was there, and everything was going great until they got superstitious. They are superstitious, so they thought for some reason it might be bad luck that I was on board with them. So they were just about to drop me off when we got raided by a Russian Navy ship who put us all in a Russian jail for 5 years for piracy.
What's the most serious law you have ever broken?
See, the problem with that question is that you need to be caught, tried, and convicted for you to be breaking the law. Now, say I shoot someone. Was it self-defense? Was it manslaughter? Was it murder? Until it gets in front of a jury, we just don't know. And I'm not dumb enough to get caught and have to be put in front of a jury.
That's the end of this round. We'll soon find out who will be going home after this message from our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by OneSock.com. Does it always seem like you have an odd number of socks for some reason? OneSock.com lets you buy one individual sock so you can finally even things out. That's OneSock.com. Use offer code TRUTH, and they'll include a second sock absolutely free. Now it's time for the audience to vote. Please enter the selection of the contestant you think should be going home. The votes are in. The audience has voted to send home Claire. Oh, I am so sorry, Claire.
Oh, that's okay. Thanks so much for having me. It's just been so exciting to be here, and I've never won anything, so I didn't expect to win today anyway, but I'm just glad I could take part.
What's your most unusual talent?
I could change my own oil. I could also fix a flat. You know, people used to know how to do that stuff. That was like common knowledge. But nowadays, no one knows how to do jack shit. Everyone's like relying on others or the internet, or just people don't know how to do stuff. No one can do common guy stuff or girl stuff, whatever, anymore. I don't know. Everyone's so sheltered.
What is your most unusual talent?
I'm a really good cook. If I had to live in the old days where people had to cook their own meals, I could buy just fine.
What's your most unusual talent?
I'd say my most unusual talent is that I can solve a Rubik's Cube in under 2 minutes. And, it's not a world record or anything, but it's pretty good. I'll break it out sometimes, maybe if I want to impress a date, and then I'll say, now you try. Actually, that has had the opposite effect, though, because they felt that I was rubbing it in their face that I was so good at it, and then I try to tell them that I wasn't trying to brag. I'm good at making things awkward, too. That's a pretty good talent of mine as well. But yeah, I'll stick with the Rubik's Cube.
What is your most unusual talent?
I'm an expert at falconry. I have a small collection of extremely well-trained birds of prey. I find owls to be particularly useful.
Describe a typical day in your life.
I wake up, I eat, I go to work, I come home, I eat, I watch TV, and then I go to bed.
Describe a typical day in your life.
My days are really busy. My trainer wakes me up at 8, then I hit the gym for 2 hours. I head downstairs to get breakfast. Then I take a shower, get my hair and makeup done. Then I get dressed. And I take my first selfie of the day. Then I talk to my agent and she tells me what photo shoots I have or other obligations. On the rare days that I'm not that busy, I get to come on things like this show.
Describe a typical day in your life.
Well, usually my day is going to revolve around what I'm watching and what games I'm playing. So, work aside, when I have free time, I'm going to be binging something, and just got done with The Last of Us, binge The Mandalorian, currently watching The Winchesters, and then I'm going to play video games, gaming. A lot of RPGs, and I am immersed in that world. I take gaming very seriously. Oh, and one more thing I take very seriously, snacking. I will always have some snacks on standby and some beverages, and I like playing with snack beverage combos. Yeah, that's pretty important. That's my day.
Describe a typical day in your life.
I wake up, I eat breakfast, I feed my familiars, I go to work. When I get home, I like to relax and work on my bug collection.
What is your happiest memory?
Watching the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I've been an Eagles fan my entire life, and I was beginning to think I'd never see them win a Super Bowl. Okay? Not only did they win, but they won in a shootout against Tom Brady in a game that had more offensive yards than any other game in history, even regular season games in history. And they did it with their backup quarterback. It was amazing.
What's your happiest memory?
When I was 8 years old, my parents bought me my first pony. They made sure it was a surprise by telling me I wouldn't get one until I was 10 years old. Then I went outside, and there she was, with a big bow. It was extra surprising because it wasn't even my birthday.
What is your happiest memory?
I'm going there in my mind right now. Absolutely my happiest memory was going to see The Phantom Menace on the big screen. Star Wars Episode 1. You see, let's rewind. I thought I would never see new Star Wars in my lifetime. So when that came to pass, and I found myself butt in seat, looking up in a theater, brand new, taking me to a galaxy far, far away, the iconic scroll, the Star Wars logo, the score, John Williams. I can honestly say I was never happier. Now, the quality overall of the prequels, that is another conversation. But for that frozen moment in time, kill me now. I'm good.
What is your happiest memory?
When I was in the 4th grade, our teacher had a seizure in front of the whole class and died. We got to go home early. It was a double win.
What is your proudest accomplishment?
I broke so many school records when I played high school football that I couldn't even name them all. I knew I wasn't good enough to go pro, but I'm willing to bet that a lot of those records still stand today.
What is your proudest accomplishment?
My proudest accomplishment. I would probably say when I hit 1 million followers. That wasn't my only milestone, but that one definitely stuck with me.
What is your proudest accomplishment?
My proudest accomplishment was getting a perfect score on my SATs in the 8th grade. So I got a 1600. It did take me 3 tries. Almost had it on the 2nd try, but took it again. And I guess you could say 3rd time's the charm.
What's your proudest accomplishment?
I once had these neighbors who liked to hang outside on their porch all day, blaring terrible music. I thought I could take a bat to their stereo myself and end it, but they, of course, had cameras. So I took a picture of their stereo and posted it to Craigslist under the free stuff category. Got somebody else just to take the whole stereo away. As a bonus, they also took all of their patio furniture. They never hung around outside after that.
If you found a wallet, would you return it?
I mean, if there was cash in the wallet, I'd keep that. You know, finders keepers. But yeah, I'd return the wallet. I've actually heard if you put a rubber band around the wallet and drop it in the mailbox, the post office will return it. I don't know if that's true, but yeah, that's what I do.
If you found a wallet, would you return it?
I always return wallets when I find them. Every time. It's the right thing to do.
If you found a wallet, would you return it?
Okay. So if I found the wallet, the question of whether or not I'd return it depends. Now, if it was a one percenter, a wealthy individual, and that wallet was filled with money, I might take the money and return the wallet anonymously. If it was seemingly like just a regular person, regular working stiff, then I think I'd just return the whole thing. But if it was a Gucci wallet with gold around the sides, black card, the whole nine, I might have to take a little photo.
If you found a wallet, would you return it?
I found a wallet once. I looked up the owner on social media. Turned out to be some racist, sexist loser who was inexplicably married.